Okay, test for the audio. Can you guys hear? If you can hear, just type a yes and then we'll start. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, again, this video will be recorded. So if you miss out any front part, feel free to go back to the recording and check it. Right. Again, if you haven't downloaded all the reports, feel free to download them on the website. All right, under the students portal. So again, the process that we always take in at the start of the trading week is we always go into. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, can. All right. So the process here is always at the start of the week, you want to always take note into what are some of the events that you need to pay attention to for this particular trading week. So that one, what you can do is quickly go into Forex Factory. Right, every week you can have a very quick outlook into what is some of the events that is taking place. So for today, it's Monday. You can see the main event today is actually on Pound Services PMI, which came in better than the forecast. And then for Tuesday, all right, the focus will be on RBA cash rate and rate statement itself. This one, if you haven't been following the past month RBA rate statement, it would be best if you go and read it up as well. What we did for this particular week is we summarized it in our website, all right, on the blog page. So I'll just quickly pull it up to show you, right, under the recent blog. So it's important for you guys to also take note of what are some of the rate statement, or what are some of the central bank's monetary policy are stating. All right, so here we did a quick summary on the previous RBA statement. So we also did a quick analysis as to how the market will react to depending on this month rate statement. All right, so what we expect is that the rate statement will remain unchanged. That means the interest rate will remain at 1.5, but it really depends on what the RBA has in terms of forward guidance. All right, whether they are going to be dovish or hawkish. Right, so we also state here that we expect it to be remaining fundamentally neutral, but we are slightly bearish to it because of the risk event in the overall market sentiment. Right, so that's for Tuesday. If you are trading any Aussie, you need to take note of it. All right, and Wednesday itself, the focus will be on BOC, which is very similar also on rate statement and interest rate. All right, so if you also haven't read into last month rate statement, you need to take a look into this as well, right? We did a quick summary over here. Basically, the BOC last month's rate statement was pretty dovish, all right? A lot of growth GDP are revised to the downside. Okay, but the important thing to take note that is with the recent agreement from OPEC to cut their production, right? Oil prices has rallied, and that also gives some strength to the Canadian dollar, right? So if this month, which is Wednesday statement, if it's overall pretty neutral, you can expect some more strength in the Canadian dollar simply because of oil prices, all right? The correlation between oil prices and Canadian dollar. So that's for Wednesday focus. The Thursday. Right, on Thursday itself, we do have the ECB minimum bid rate and ECB press conference. This will be super interesting to watch out, because if you read into last month's ECB press conference, or it's summarized over here, right, these are the three highlights that Draghi mentioned. He mentioned about continue to expect. Them over here is actually talking about the ECB itself, right? So they actually continue to expect to remain at low levels and for an extended period of time. This is referring to the interest rate, right? Remain at present or lower levels. And this one, Draghi also mentioned that their decision in December, right, will be telling us more about what they are going to do in the coming months as well as into 2017. All right, so this is going to be interesting to keep an eye on what the ECB will do in 2017. And of course, this one talking about the abrupt ending of bond purchase, because last month we do have an article or news that talk about ECB probably tapering, right? And Draghi did confirm that he thinks that it is unlikely that they're going to do an tapering just like this. Okay, so for this month's ECB press conference, it will be very interesting to watch out. Okay, if you have the time and the capacity, do watch the live press conference. Then you can really see, when Draghi comments and when there are questions coming in, how his answer actually impact the market and how it moved. Right, so that's for Thursday, right? Around 9:30 Singapore time, and Friday is pretty quiet for this particular week. The only news that you need to take note of is actually on dollar itself, on prelim UOM consumer sentiment. But this is not going to be a super important one. If you take into account next week, we do have the Fed interest rate FOMC meeting. Okay, so for this week, focus is definitely on the three currencies, which is Australia, Canadian, as well as the Euro. Right, so with that, let's go over to this week FX Edge report. Okay, just to quickly show you the three currencies first, and then I'll walk you through some others. Right, if you look at Euro, the fundamental FSI itself, fundamental strength index, is still showing that the economy is in an expansionary mode. This is coming from after their accommodative policy that is adopted by ECB. Right, so overall, in fundamental perspective, it's showing some sign of bullishness, right? Fundamental aspect. If you look into sentiment, right, for the past 4 weeks, you can see that there are increased position in longs futures as well. But if you look at overall net position, there's not much changes, all right? They are still hovering around the negative 119K. Okay, open interest increased slightly. Other than that, there's not much. So over here, what we sum up, right, based on this analysis, is that there might be a potential build-up for a bull sentiment in the Euro. Especially, we can see 4 consecutive weeks that is increasing in long position. But for now, because the overall net doesn't change much, you can see that the short position has increased along with the long. Right, so we are remaining neutral for now, but we are seeing some sign that it might turn into a bullish momentum. Right, technical aspect for Euro. This one might have changed slightly because of today's morning due to the Italia referendum. Okay, but I'll update you again once we move on to technical. But for fundamental and sentiment in Euro, you need to take note that fundamentally is showing sign of improvement. Sentiment-wise, is showing some sign that bull is picking up. Right, then this week focus, another one is on Canadian. So I'll bring you to Canadian and take a look at that. Right, so Canadian over here, you can see FSI is actually very mixed. Sometimes it's in expansionary mode, sometimes it's in contractionary mode. So over here is hovering between both sides. Right, 1 week up, 1 week down. So what we want to see is more consistency in the overall fundamental. So as of now, fundamental for Canadian, we are remaining on a neutral stand. Okay, sentiment-wise, it's pretty interesting. You can see that for the past 2 weeks, overall long and short has decreased. Right, net position has dropped a little bit, and open interest has also been decreasing. Right, so over here, not much changes. So our conclusion for Canadian is, in terms of sentiment, COT, nothing much has changed. So for Canadian dollar, right, if you look at the technical wise, right, it's still showing sign that it can drop further. But this one, you need to look into 2 things. One is the US side. Okay, this is going to be important because next week we are going into the FOMC, probably a rate hike, as well as looking at Canadian will be more on oil prices. Okay, so if oil prices continue to strengthen and rally, we can see the Canadian dollar strengthening as well. All right, and of course, looking at Australian dollar. Okay, if you look at the fundamental on Australian dollar, it's still in the contractionary phase, but we are seeing that overall it's improving. Right, it's slowly turning into zero level and then eventually going into expansionary mode. Right, so even though it's still in the red, right, we are turning to less bearish for fundamental, but just take note that it's still in the contractionary phase, meaning still not a positive sign, but it's less bearish right now. Okay, if you look into sentiment aspect, right, we are seeing that for 4 consecutive weeks, we have a drop in long. Last week itself, we have an increase in short position. And you can see net has dropped drastically as well, right? From the past 4 weeks, you can see it dropped from 41,000 to close to 21,000. So that's a very significant change. right? Open interest has been dropping for the past 4 weeks as well. If you look into this, the 52-week change, the last 2 weeks has been a huge and significant change, right? So this tells us that this 2 week is very significant, right? And this is the conclusion that we had, right? We have a significant drop in long position and open interest. This suggests that investors are actually pulling out from Aussie long. So this shows us that overall is actually a bearish sign, right? So over here, fundamentally, we have a slightly bearish sentiment. We are also bearish. And if you look at technical, right, it's still in the bearish setup, right? So technical wise, I'll talk to you more when we go over to the charts later. The other one that is interesting for this particular week is actually Japanese yen. Okay, this one I think John did ask me last weekend, right? That the fundamental of Japanese yen is actually positive, but how come Japanese yen is weakening? Right, so I just want to point to you quickly that Japanese yen is a very interesting currency because they don't really follow the fundamental economic performance, right? It's really driven by sentiment. It's a risk currency. So do not put too much weight or emphasis on the fundamental of Japanese yen, right? Instead, look into the current market sentiment, some of the risk events that's happening, right? That's more significant to the Japanese yen. So if you look into this COT, right, it's very interesting because you look at this, right? Short position has been increasing for the past 4 weeks, and this increment in the short position is very significant. Okay, from 40,000, it jumped all the way to 72,000. All right, that's huge. Long position has increased, but it's only increasing a little bit. All right, and if you look at net position, from very positive, this week it started to go into the negative territory. Open interest has been increasing drastically as well, right? So all this points into the conclusion that selling interest is definitely building up strongly, right? And we already seeing signs that it's shifting towards a bearish sentiment for Japanese yen. Okay, so this is going to be interesting because the net position has changed from positive to negative for the first time. All right, if you look into dollar yen, this chart needs to be updated because movement later we walk you through. But later I'll share you. Right? So this possible look buy is already done. Right? So to the overall conclusion as this week, right, you can see that overall a lot of the economy is performing better. The only one that is still in the red is actually your Australian dollar. Right, so again, this one is just purely looking at economic data. So it doesn't mean that it's green means the currency is going to go in that direction. All right, doesn't mean green means it's going to strengthen. It's just based on economic performance. Right, so you can see dollar and euro is significantly stronger. Right, and of course, dollar is very aligned into. That's why the Fed is actually thinking about raising interest rate because economy is already supporting it. Right, so if you look into COT. Euro is still very in the negative territory. Pound has improved a little bit. Okay, Japanese is the one that is interesting, which I pointed out just now. Right, from positive now it dips into slightly negative already. Okay, so Japanese yen is something that you want to focus on this week as well. All right, so far so good, right? Okay, let's go on to the chart itself. All right, so for the chart itself, always when you are trading, especially the majors, the first thing you need to look out for is always look at your dollar index, right? Because most of the majors you are trading on will be based on dollar index as well, right? So my analysis on dollar index for this particular week, right? This one, nothing much has changed since we shared last week, right? We are expecting either a correction or at least a correction, or eventually it might also turn into a reversal to the downside all the way down here. Okay, what's going to be the catalyst to drive weakness in the dollar would be if next week the Fed decide not to increase interest rate and to put it on hold, we might see that sell-off in dollar coming. Okay, so I wrote here as of the weekend, right? 100.65 is a key level to watch. If it breaks down very strongly, what we are seeing right now is a pin bar forming for today, right? If it breaks down very strongly to the downside, right, it might signify a potential reversal and not a correction anymore. So if I go down to a smaller time frame to show you what's happening, all right, we are seeing a gap this morning. All right, after the Italia referendum, we see a gap up. All right, but this gap was quickly recovered for today, and it's now trading slightly lower. Right, so if this continue to go lower, if dollar index continue to go lower for today and tomorrow, right, we might see a potential change in trend. Basically means technical wise, we might be bearish on the dollar index. Right, so we don't really trade the dollar index, but we are using this as a benchmark to trade other currency pairs. Okay, so if dollar index starts to drop, okay, all other majors might see a rally in it, especially your euro dollar. Okay, so let me go over to euro dollar to share with you what we are looking out for in this particular week. Okay, starting on the daily perspective, right? This one is the relationship between dollar index and euro dollar. You can see is almost inverse. Okay, dollar index we are seeing a reversal. Euro dollar we are seeing a potential rally, right? Either a correction upwards or a potential change in trend, a reversal from the downside now going back up. All right, so we identified this zone last week as well, and you can see price is currently respecting that. So right now we are expecting that if this close in a very strong upwards momentum, right, we can target euro dollar all the way back up towards the 1.1480 level. Okay, this is a very high time frame perspective. So we usually drop down to lower time frame. What's happening right within it? Right. This one, when I did this analysis, I haven't updated the charts for today, but I did it on Sunday. Okay, at least one more drop based on this structure here. Price did eventually drop, but right now it's recovering all the way. So this one, I'll update and I'll share with you guys again my analysis on euro dollar tomorrow. Okay, depending on how today price closes, we are seeing a potential shift in trend towards the upside. Right. So if you are looking out for euro dollar, right now, my advice to you guys is just avoid trading this particular pair first until more confirmation is provided by the market, right? So you can see on this chart, okay, it's basically recently on 1 hour time frame is moving nowhere. It's just going up and down in a range environment, right? And based on the strategies that we share with you, there are actually no setup that it's valid for you to trade as well. Okay, so as of now for euro dollar, just put it aside, right? Let market to develop some more before we have any clear confirmation as to where it wants to go, and then we can trade that. Let me just put in my RSI as well. All right. Okay. Well, RSI doesn't show any sign that we can trade it as well. So again, it confirmed that euro dollar has no potential. All right. So for now, just leave it aside and don't touch it. All right. Now take a look at pound dollar. All right. Let's go on the higher time frame daily perspective. This one, you can see that since last week we said that it has still room for it to go higher, at least towards the 1.2860. Right, this is a fit level confluence with a previous support level turn resistance now as well. Right, so we are expecting some more upside for pound dollar on a smaller time frame. Right, we expected for it to move higher, right, towards this area between 12750 to 12780. Once it reached this area, okay, if you are aggressive, you can look for opportunity to short this market, right? Short this pair, pound dollar. But this short will be very short term, right? Because we are expecting it to just drop back towards about 1.2630. Okay, that's about 100 pips if you want to catch that. Then after that, we would advise you to look for the upside because the upside potential is actually greater. All right. So again, this is forecast. So if you want to take trades, you always need to have a proper rule to enter. Okay, and that proper rule means you need to have a proper strategy to take that trade. Based on the advanced masterclasses that we teach you guys, right? There is a few strategies that There's a total of 3 strategies that we shared with you, right? So adopt those 3 strategies to find out for trade opportunity. Okay, if you do not have any, then wait for it to happen. Okay, so what we shared with you just now on that chart is that we expect it to go higher, right? And then after that, a retracement before another move up. So on this perspective, what you can wait for is wait for price to break this high. Okay, wait for price to break this high, and then when it does this, okay, you have a structure forming, which is this resistance now turned into a support, and when it retraces back down, you can look for that opportunity to buy into this particular pair. Okay, but as of now, there's not much of a setup playing out over here. Okay, so again, similar to euro dollar, there's not much of a setup on pound dollar, so you might not want to pay too much focus on this particular pair as of this week, okay, because you still need some time for this entire thing to play out before you have an opportunity to take this trade. Right, dollar yen. Dollar yen is something that you might want to focus on a little bit more this week, because if it rallies up towards 115.50, that's the area where you might want to look for a potential sign of reversal, right? Because just now I shared with you dollar index, euro dollar, we are seeing that US dollar itself is building up in terms of a potential reversal or at least a correction. Right, so this is on the daily time frame. We can see that this entire rally didn't experience any form of correction. So at some point of time, right, this pair must correct itself. So what we are expecting is this zone, right, between 112.80 to 115.50. That will be the zone in which we might see some resistance and price might correct or even reverse to the downside. Okay, so look out for area in around 115.50. If price reach that level, look out for opportunity to short the market. Okay, we'll update all once we spot any valid opportunity to take a trade on that. Right, but as of now, there isn't much setup that is valid that you can take a trade. Let me just take a look. Yep. Right, so again, dollar yen, as of now, there's not much that you can play around with. Just wait for it. Right. Later, I'll show you some that we are also monitoring closely. All right. If you're looking into this Aussie dollar, right, just show you again. Aussie dollar, we just now look into the edge report. All right. Fundamentally, it's still in the downside. Sentiment is showing. Sentiment is also showing towards the bearish side, right over here. Significant drop in long position, right? Overall is a bearish sign. And if you look at technical, right, they are actually aligned with the fundamental and sentiment as well, right? And you can see that this level is holding very nicely. The FIB confluence between 61.8 and 786. You can see price rejection of this area, all right? And right now price is going lower, right? So this one is a line between fundamental, sentiment, and technical. So we are looking for short opportunity on the Aussie dollar. Right, the targets that we are aiming for is actually all the way back down towards this low here at 0.7145. Right, so this move, it's approximately about 200 pips if you can catch the entire move from here all the way back down. Okay, so how you can engage this trade based on the 3 strategies that we teach you. Right, on a higher time frame H4, you do have a bearish pattern setting up over here. Okay, this one we shared in the group as well as in this week video already. So this one you want to look out for is if price rally up all the way towards 772, you do have a potential to take the short trade. Okay, this is on higher time frame H4. So if you do not want to take this trade because it's too big for you, or even your stop loss is too wide, you can actually go down to a lower time frame, right, and spot for opportunity. So let me just do a quick check. Right, so if you pull in your FIB from this recent high to this recent low, you can see that this comes in at 61.8, right, and it never really touched your 786, right? So that gives you a potential pattern formation as well. So if you pull in an extension to measure the 127, Okay, so you can see that we also have a potential Gartley pattern forming on the smaller time frame, on H1 time frame itself. Okay, so from X to A, and then if price dip lower and then retrace higher, you have this potential pattern. All right, and this pattern will give you a very nice risk to reward because your D point completion is very near to your X point. So what you need to do is your stop loss just need to put slightly above your X point, right, which is very tight. And your target, you can go for a few ways to do it, right? This one we shared in our past 2 weeks webinar as well. One, you can use a conventional one which we shared you, right? Basically measure Fibonacci between 38 and 61.8. Right, target 1 can go to 38.2. This gives you risk to reward about 1 to 2.5, and then target 2 goes to 61.8. Risk to reward about 1 is to 4.4. Okay. Of course, this one you can also adopt the plan which we shared here. We are aiming all the way until 7140. So you can also enter this trade and then your take profit put all the way at 7140. Okay, but of course, along the way, if it's profitable and price is moving in your direction, you want to continuously shift your stop loss to protect your trade as well. Okay, and what we suggest is also take some profits as price go in your direction. Okay, set TP1, TP2, and then another one can be TP3 all the way at 7140. Okay, so Aussie, you have some potential set up for this particular week. Okay, if price don't rally all the way back up here, and from here it starts to drop lower. Right, so if price does this, if this week it starts to go lower and it breaks this low, you would have an opportunity to trade it based on structure as well. Okay, so if you break this low, what you can do is wait for a retracement back up, right, towards this structure area, and then you can look for a short opportunity back down here if price does break below. Okay, so this is one opportunity. Aussie dollar, do keep a close watch for this week, right, because we might see a very good trade that is possibly taking it out. Right, Kiwi dollar, very close and related to Australian dollar as well. Right, you can see that overall direction is also to the downside. Right, on the lower time frame, we are expecting at least a movement towards 0.6990, that area. Right, again, what you need to do then, go over to your chart and look for opportunity and reason to take a trade. Okay, I'm going to show you Kiwi dollar. Okay, on H1 time frame, if you look at this particular chart, right, if you are quick enough, you'll be able to spot that you have an advanced price pattern forming. Okay, because if you are able to see this very quickly, this is actually one swing down and then another swing up. Right, and currently price is coming down. Okay, if from here price decide to rally up, right, you do have a potential W shape forming. What you need to do is just put in your Fibonacci tool, and this one should comes in around 786. Right, so it comes in at 786, but it never touched 88.6. So what you have would be a potential butterfly pattern. Right, and it completes all the way back up at 127. Okay, so it looks like this if you put in your triangle. Okay, should price decide to come back up. Right, again, butterfly pattern, it will be a very high risk to reward trade because your risk is pretty small. Okay, if you enter at the completion of it, your stop loss just need to go slightly above the 141 extension. Your take profit, again, you can use the 38.2, right, for your TP1. And TP2, you use the 61.8. Okay, so TP1 for butterfly pattern normally is very high in risk to reward. You can see it's around 1:1, 1:2.2 already, right? And if you go for TP2, you can get as high as 1:3, and then if you go for the extended target for TP3, you can go for even more. Okay, if price don't start to retrace higher, but what it does, right, if it goes similarly with Aussie, it starts to break lower, right, and it breaks below this low, then you have a potential structure trade. Okay, because this was your previous structure support. If price breaks below it, right, wait for that retracement up, and then you have a valid structure trade. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. right? And then you can use your structure strategy to take this trade in the direction downside, right? Towards 69.90. Right, that's for Kiwi dollar. Right, I'll walk you through the last major pair. Okay, and then I'll see if you have any questions, and we can tackle some of the questions as well. Right, for dollar Canadian, we are expecting it to still drop. All right, this one was shared earlier last month. All right, about this huge drop coming for dollar Canadian. All right, we see this very strong move drop, right, between 1.465 to 1.246, 245 around there. Okay, that's a drop of about 2,000 pips, right? So we believe that if there's a drop, this entire thing is a correction. Okay, we might see another drop from here all the way down towards 1.1865. Okay, so if price really starts to drop like this, you want to catch at least some part of it. Okay, because such movement like this, right, of a 2,000 pips, you can actually almost double your or triple your account if you manage to catch it at the top and then ride it all the way back down. Okay, so let's go to lower time frame. For lower time frame is showing sign that it's starting to fall already. Okay, I'll show you on the H4 is clearer. Okay, this is potentially the top, all right, as of now. Okay, we are seeing that it's starting to drop lower already, and what we need to do is to monitor if price can break this trend line or even this low first. Okay, so this low is currently put at 1.3185. Okay, so price needs to first break this low before we can see that huge down move. Right, so our bias on dollar CAD is actually to the downside. You might see some potential to take trades for this particular week as well. All right, so this is actually in line with the oil prices rallying because of OPEC oil production agreement. So this one, if you look at this, we already have a potential setup forming. If you are quick, you'll be able to see what's happening here. Okay, you have this high, price comes down, it retraces, right, and then it drops again, it retraces back up, all right, followed by another drop. And then right now it's in a retracement. Okay, so usually where price is going to retrace up to, most of the time is going to do this, all right? It's going to retrace back to your previous structure over here. And what you need to do is, if price do come back up, look for the opportunity to take this trade. Okay, to pull in fib, okay, you just need to pull in from this recent high, this recent low. You can see that the confluence come in between 50 to 61.8. All right, so this is your area to look for an opportunity to short the market. So if price comes up, look for a confirmation to take this trade towards the downside. All right, so again, dollar Canadian is something that you can pay close attention to, because you might get this opportunity to take this trade for this particular week itself. All right, any questions that you guys have for me to this point of time? Okay, I understand some of you asked regarding how to check or how to use the forecast, the wave forecast that we shared with you, all right, in the group chat as well as in the email and the portal. I won't be able to cover, you know, everything in using a webinar format. Okay, so next year itself we'll be launching a new program to teach you guys how to do this. Then from there, you guys will be invited to join us as well. Right, and then it'll be easier for me to share with you physically how to do all this forecast and analysis, so that you can also benefit much from it. Okay, but as of now, the usage to it is really use it as a directional bias for technical analysis wise. All right, so if we say that our bias is to the downside, we're expecting price to go down, use it as a bias, like a fundamental bias itself. Okay, so if we say that we expect price to fall or such, it doesn't mean that straight away you go onto the particular pair and then you short it. Okay, but it's more like, you know, fundamental bias. So this is a technical bias, right? You still need a valid setup to take the trade itself. Okay, okay. So if no question, let me go back to Aussie dollar. All right, what I want to talk a little bit more about Aussie dollar is tomorrow we have RBA rate statement. Okay, so my suggestion to you is normally if there's such rate statement, all right, nobody will know what will happen for tomorrow. So usually what we want to do is wait for the statement to be released and then take that trade. Take a trade only after the statement has been released. All right, and of course, if you are free and available during that time, tomorrow is at 11:30. So if you are free and available to trade at 11:30 in the morning tomorrow, what you can do is really be watching this news itself. So once 11:30 is up, right, you can go over to forexlive.com. Usually the update is pretty quick over there. We can quickly analyze, whether the overall rate statement is dovish or hawkish. All right, and then from there, you can take a fundamental stand as well to trade this. Okay, so we are expecting technical wise Aussie dollar to drop, but if let's say tomorrow's statement is very hawkish, you might want to just let price settle down first. Meaning, if it's very hawkish statement, most of the time price is gonna rally, so you might want to just stay at the sideline, don't trade first. Okay, and then once it's settled down and then it's showing you that it wants to go up or down, and then you take that direction, and then you only pull the trigger to take the trade. Okay, so you can see as of now, it's basically consolidating over here because everyone is also waiting for the RBA rate statement. Okay, so it's not wise to take a trade, a new trade right now, so close to the statement itself. Okay, so wait for it. So similar thing applies to if you are trading the Canadian. All right, take note on Wednesday you have this, all right, BOC rate statement. Again, do not jump into a trade on Tuesday night because then the next day you have RBA, you have BOC rate statement. Similarly for Euro, all right, do not take a trade on Wednesday night because then Thursday you have another news event coming in. All right, to show you what's happening on the oil market and why we are expecting the Canadian dollar to strengthen. Okay, because oil market, this is what we are seeing. All right, previously we saw this, all right, we expected price to drop towards this low, but because of OPEC agreement, okay, it pushes price up. So the analysis changes. Right now we are seeing a potential upside on oil. Okay, how far it can reach, the minimum target right now we are aiming for is about 58.60. Right now it's trading about 52. Right here, yep, about 52. All right, so that's about $6 up. Okay, so price don't go one direction straight up. It's gonna go up and down. Okay, so right now, short-term wise, we expect that minimally it has still some room for it to go higher towards 56. All right, and we don't trade oil personally like this. So if oil strengthens, what are some of the opportunities that we can trade is trading the Canadian itself. Okay, so if oil rally, Canadian is going to be high tendency is going to strengthen. So what are some of the pairs that you want to match your Canadian strength with, right? You want to match it with a weak currency. Okay, what are some of the weaker currencies that are aligned with? Basically your Aussie dollar, all right, and Kiwi dollar, right? Fundamentally, Kiwi is strong, okay, but if you look into the sentiment, it's still towards the downside. All right, over here you can see it's hovering around zero, it's slightly towards the downside. All right, so if you want to trade Canadian strength, trade it against the Aussie dollar and the Kiwi. Basically, you sell Aussie CAD and sell Kiwi CAD. All right, so if I bring you to the chart to see how Aussie CAD and Kiwi CAD is performing, right, you can see that Aussie CAD has fallen, all right, pretty much from the top recently to the bottom here. We still expect some more room towards the downside, towards 97.80, all right, before a significant correction will be seen. All right, so if you want to short, if you want to long Canadian, long it with a weak currency like Aussie, Kiwi, and Aussie CAD and Kiwi CAD. Okay, you can see Kiwi CAD is also falling. Okay, so since we're on Aussie CAD and Kiwi CAD, I'll just quickly share with you that on a higher time frame, what we are looking out for. Okay, this is on daily perspective, right? So this entire move up is a correction. Okay, so we are expecting at least this to drop further towards this level at 93.05. Okay, so this is on a higher time frame. So if I go to a smaller time frame, I'm expecting price to do this. Last Sunday, all right, basically yesterday when I analyzed this, I expect price to go higher before it starts to fall. But as of today, you can see that price didn't really go higher, but it started falling already. Okay, so what I'm looking out for is price has to break this low to confirm that it's ready to drop lower. Okay, so until then, I won't be taking any trade, but it's very close. You need to monitor this pair very closely because we do have a potential to take this trade. Again, whenever I see a very close opportunity to take a trade, I'll update you guys on the Slack channel itself. Right, so you need to pay attention to the Slack channel because once I spot an opportunity, I'll actually update everyone over there. Okay, but Kiwi CAD, right? See if we have any potential setup based on the strategies that we shared. Right, if you are fast and quick, right? If you're sharp enough, you'll be able to spot already what is happening over here. Okay, you have a swing up, a swing high here, a swing low here. And then price retraces. Right now it's falling. Right, if price decide to come back up, right, we do have a potential pattern forming as well. Right, so from X point to A point, okay, this retracement comes in at 38.2. Right, between 38.2 and 50%, that's gonna give you a bad pattern, completing at 88.6. Right, so if price rally all the way back up towards the 96 even handle, you have a potential pattern to take a short. All right. So if price don't do this and price decide to just drop further and it breaks below your A point, then what you have is a structure trade. All right. If price does this, it go continue lower. You do have a structure trade from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then wait for that retracement back towards the structure area, something like this. Wait for this retracement, and then you have the opportunity to short this trade around this region, all right? This previous structure here. And if I pull in my FIB, all right, if price stop here, then you need to put in your FIB from this high to this high, all right? And then look out for that FIB confluence, either 38.2, 50%, or 61.8. Okay, so depending on how much or how low price drop, right, your FIB will vary. If it goes lower, then you need to pull your FIB all the way back down. Okay, but potentially this is a plan for you to take note of. If Kiwi CAD, right, decide to fall and break this low, look out for the retracement to take the trade. If it decides to go back up, you have another opportunity up there as well. Okay, very similar to Aussie Canadian, right? Aussie Canadian as of now, you do not have a pattern, okay, but wait for this low to be broken, and then you would have a 1, 2, 3, 4 setup. Okay, so if price does this, and then if it decides to come back up, okay, then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4 setup. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then wait for the retracement, and then you can take that short trade at the previous structure over here. All right, so far so good for everyone. Can follow, right? Okay, I'll move on to some other pairs as well. Okay, for Euro Yen, okay, this is what we are looking out for. Okay, on a daily perspective, we are expecting that after this strong move, all right, very similar to your dollar yen, after a strong move like this, we expect some form of correction. You can see that within today, right, this dip itself was the correction. We are expecting some more upside to Euro Yen, not much, right, a little bit more. Okay, so you can see this was the weekend analysis. We expect it to retrace towards this area, then go up. All right, so it happens very quickly as of today itself. All right, everything happens within the same day. We expect some more upside, a little bit only. So my suggestion to this is, in view that we already have ECB press conference on Thursday, right? For Euro trade, especially the Euro Yen, as of looking at this, right, best is not to take trade before Thursday. Right, so for Euro Yen, wait for Thursday before you decide to enter any long position. Okay, but Euro Yen is very interesting because if you look at the sentiment on Yen, right? Just now I mentioned right at the start of today's session that Yen has dipped, right, from very positive territory. Now it's started to go into a negative territory, right? So it's showing you that people are interested in the short position on Japanese Yen, right? And of course, fundamental for Japanese Yen is not very significant. So we base more weightage on the sentiment aspect and risk environment in the market. Okay, so Yen is weaker. And if you look into Euro, just now I shared with you on the sentiment perspective, the COT aspect of Euro. Okay, we are seeing that there's a bull potential building up, right, over here. This is on Euro. All right, we talk about this potential build up for bull sentiment in Euro. All right, so that's why I'm also paying very close attention on Euro Yen. Okay, and see if I can find a confluence between fundamental sentiment and technical aspect. All right, so as of now, technical wise, there's not much room for it to go higher first. It needs to always correct itself first, meaning it needs to come down before it can go further up. All right, so as of now, I'm not interested to buy it at this moment. I want to see some form of correction before we look for a better price to actually long Euro. Okay, again, I'll update all once I spot the opportunity to long Euro. Okay, Pound Yen. Okay, this is what we expected. We expected a correction, but it didn't happen for this week. Right, it continued to go higher. This is what's happening on the daily perspective. Right, this level will be key to watch. Okay, when price comes into this trend line, it has the room to go all the way to 148. Okay, so but you can see that this rally itself, it has been days without a correction. Okay, so at some point of time, it needs to correct or even turn and reverse itself. So what we want is we do not want to catch the upside already because it's pretty limited. Okay, and we are foreseeing some form of correction. So do not long the market right now. Do not chase the upwards movement in price. Wait for it to at least correct, and then if it's showing you a correction, you can trade for the upside. If it's showing you a reversal, then you want to trade towards the downside. Right, so Pound Yen has been going up very strong. We are expecting it to end somewhere around this area already. Okay, because this trend line is the one that I show you on daily. We are expecting it to see some form of resistance, all right, or even at the 148.20. Okay, so it's very close to that. Be patient, wait for it. That's why I say over here, trade plan. Also wait for more confirmation. Do not rush into the trade. All right, so that's for the yen pairs. Looking at some of the crosses, right? Euro Aussie and Euro Kiwi. Right, Euro Aussie, there's still some room for it. All right, we are expecting it to go all the way back up to 1.47. Right, from here to 1.47, you have some opportunity that you can take a trade. And once it hits 1.47, we are expecting it to go another move towards the downside. Okay, and if I show you, there are also opportunities that you can keep a close watch for this particular week. Right, for Euro Aussie. This is the setup that I'm sharing. I shared over the weekend on the video as well. Right, so we do have a potential bearish bad pattern. That means what we need is for price to rally all the way back up to look for a short opportunity. All right, but before that rally, can you find any opportunity to buy into it, to trade towards the upside? All right, so you need to look out for a potential setup. Right, based on now this current price and market condition, there isn't. But if price does this, right, if price break this high, you do have a potential 1, 2, 3, 4 that you can take a trade on. Right, this is your 1 to 2. All right, it retraces back down to your third point, and if price breaks above it, okay, you do have your 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, and then wait for that retracement to take the trade. Okay, of course, this cannot go all the way up. Wait for the retracement to take that trade, right? And then you buy it up to the completion of the pattern. Okay, if it happens. So then this is where your bet pattern comes in. Right? So this is a potential plan that you can see in Euro Aussie. Okay, if price break above it and then it comes down to the retracement, look for that long setup at your previous structure. Right, your target is a completion of the bet, and if the bet pattern is completed, you want to take profit for your long and then look for a short towards the downside. Right, so again, another plan for you to monitor for this particular week, right, which is in line with this forecast that we've done. Right, Euro Kiwi, very similar, is also towards the upside, but you can see Euro Kiwi moved more aggressively today. As of now, the upside potential might be quite limited because of today's huge rally. Okay, we are expecting it to target about 5260. So if you look at it right now, your current price is about 50.80. Okay, so it's about just slightly about 200 pips towards the upside. And if you want to take this trade, you know, your stop loss needs to be very far. So your risk to reward is not there. Best is to just avoid it. Okay, but if you are very aggressive, you want to look for near-term opportunity, you can still look out for it on the weekly, on the 1 hour time frame. All right, we might have this, it's not, let me just take a look. Okay, you do not have a divergence set up, but what you need to do is then wait for this to happen. All right, if you are looking at this very small area, you have a potential setup 1 to 2. All right, this is probably more on the shorter time frame, maybe 30 minutes is okay. Show you on the 15 is clearer actually. Right, you do have this setup forming 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3, and you can see this ready up towards the upside. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the 15-minute time frame. Right, this is your structure area. If price comes back down, if it retraces back all the way towards this area, you have a potential setup. Right, and this setup, the confluence should come in around your 61 to 78.6. Right, it's exactly at your 61.8 Fibonacci level. Right, so if price comes down, okay, you can look for opportunity to buy the Euro Kiwi. Right, long it here. If you're trading this, your stop loss needs to be below your previous low over here. Okay, you need to give it a little bit of room for it, so that if this acts as a last form of support, you are not going to get stop out. All right, your TP1 is at your previous high. Okay, this gives you a risk to reward. It's close to 1 to 5. And if you want to go for, you know, extended target, you can follow this analysis. You can aim for the 1.5260. Right, so if you aim for the 1.5260, it's going to be huge risk to reward. Let me just show you on the hourly. Right, if you aim for 5260, right, you can see this risk reward give you close to 1 is to 2.5. Okay, so you need to decide for yourself if 15-minute is a time frame that you are comfortable trading. All right, don't trade this time frame just because I shared with you that there's a potential setup, and then you just decide that today you want to trade 15-minute. Okay, if it's not in your plan, use this as an educational purpose. All right, don't force that trade just because I show you one. Always follow back what you have in your plan. All right, if your plan says that you can zoom in to 15 minutes to take a trade, then go for it. If not, don't force this particular trade. All right, so that's one for you to look out for in Euro Kiwi. All right, if it does happen, if this trade is going to happen, right, it's going to happen either today or tomorrow. Okay, because if it doesn't happen today or tomorrow, this is going to fly up already, and then you need to reassess the whole situation. All right, so I've shared with you some of the potential pairs and setup to keep a very close watch for this particular week. Okay, because of the gap today, right, and the movement in the euro, right, you can see it gaps down and then straight away it recover everything. Some of our analysis it needs to be reassessed, right? And usually the time that I'm going to reassess all this analysis is every morning, right? So I'm going to do that tomorrow morning, and then I'm going to update you some of the charts as well as some of the potential pairs to look out for. But just sharing with you today, what are some of my some of the watch lists that I am personally watching. Okay, so I am watching on Aussie dollar, definitely. Okay, so this one I'm definitely watching on it. I'm looking for a reason to take a short trade. All right, I'll be waiting for tomorrow RBA. Most likely I'll be in front of my com when the RBA rate statement is going to be released, and if it fits my plan, meaning if the RBA statement is not hawkish at all, I'll be looking for an opportunity to take a short trade on the Aussie dollar. Okay, so this is one I'm going to look out for, Aussie dollar, as well as Kiwi dollar, because these two pair move almost in tandem, right? So if I'm looking at Aussie dollar short, I'll be also looking at Kiwi dollar short. All right, this two is in my watch list. Dollar Canadian, I'll also be watching for an opportunity to take a short trade in the dollar Canadian for this particular week. All right, so major wise, I'm looking at Aussie dollar, Kiwi dollar, and dollar CAD. All right, another one that I'm looking out for this week, all right, is the Aussie Canadian. All right, you can see that this one I also share with you why I'm looking at this. I'm looking at Aussie Canadian to take a short. Similarly on Kiwi CAD to take a short as well. All right, so 5 pairs I'm closely watching. All right, Aussie dollar, Kiwi dollar, dollar CAD, Aussie CAD, and Kiwi CAD itself. All right, I'm watching at these 4 pairs as of now. In terms of others, it's still very early, so there's not much until price give me more hint how they want to move. Okay, any questions from you guys? Okay, you can type on the chat, or you can either through the Slack chat or in TeamViewer. All right, you can type in your questions, and then I can help you answer them and help you along the way. All good. Okay. For those who are actively trading also, right? Take note of this channel called Forex Winner Circle in Slack, all right? Because right now what we are doing is a lot of our trades, right, is very difficult for my entry, right? My style of entry right now, it's not so much on pending setup anymore because I'm actively trading in front of my computer. Okay, so I don't usually put pending setups already. So what I'll do is whenever I enter a trade, okay, I'll post it up over here as well. All right, so you can see that last week I shared over here as well the trades that I took. Right, over here you see, currently position, okay, sorry, this is not the one. All right, let it look for, sorry, just show you how I use it. Right, so right, I'll do something, just show you what I mean when I post it up. All right, so I'll do something like this. If I enter a trade, all right, I'll almost straight away do this on this channel as well. I'll say that, I just long Euro Yen. All right, what is my stop loss? What is my take profit? I also shorted Aussie dollar at the same time. What is my stop loss? And sometimes TP, I'll just leave it open because I'm riding for the home run trade, right? Basically, I want to ride for as long as the trend allow me to do that. Okay, so I'll post all these trades whenever I take it. Okay, I don't usually put into a pending order right now. I want to wait for that confirmation, and when it happens, I'll pull that trigger and I'll update all of you over here. Okay, so having said that, it's again not we are not giving this, and then you must follow the trade. It's not a must. It's just showing you that when we take a trade, okay, to tell you that we took it, you can either use it to match it your own analysis. If it fits your plan, you can trade it. Okay, if it doesn't fit your plan, just use it as an educational purpose. All right, so it's not 100% gonna be a winning trade. Right, not all trades are winning trade. Some of it is break even. Some of it are SL. All right, and of course some of it are winning trades as well. right? So I'll update every day what are some of the trades that we have. For example, over here when we shorted a new one, all right, shorted EuroCAD was the SL. I also put it up over here, okay, and then I also update you guys when we get out of some of the trade. Okay, usually this break even trade is because we shifted our stop loss to break even, and then price came back up to hit our SL. Okay, so I also tell you if we shift SL, like for example over here, right? I'm telling you guys that we are shifting SL on Aussie short to BE, right? And if you shorted dollar CAD also to shift your SL to BE. Okay, and then after that, after some time, right, about 10 minutes later, I'm shifting my Euro CAD to break even as well. Right, so I will update you guys along whenever I take a trade, so that you can also follow, my whole process as to why we took a trade, how we manage those trades, and etc. Right, so just quickly share with you. Do I have it over here? Right. To also share with you that we are putting up our trades for the last 1 month over here. Right. This is for November. Oops. Okay. This is for November, right? And this based on, okay. So currently we only have one trade running active, right? That we shorted on the 29th of November. But for November itself, right, we'll be updated all the trades taken in November. Right, and these are all trades taken not based on pending. Okay, it's based on market execution, and we take these trades based on the new methodology that we use to forecast the market. All right, using the wave theory. Okay, as of now, again, I share with you guys that even if I want to share with you how to do the wave theory, it's very difficult to do it. In such a short period of time. It does take at least weeks for me to share with you how to do that. Okay, so again, how you want to use this report, right, as well as the daily updates that I'm going to share with you. Use it as a directional bias. Okay, meaning if I say over here that looking for buy setup targeting 1.287, so the idea here is just look. That means my directional bias for pound dollar. This is the pound dollar. Okay, so this just simply tell you that my directional bias for pound dollar is upside, is bullish. All right, and then you use your own entry strategy. All right, either using the advanced price pattern or the divergence strategy or the structure strategies to engage this particular currency pair. Okay, so if you do not have any setup, don't force that trade, don't take it. Okay, so this is just to share with you for the past 1 month to give you some statistics, how many trades we took on the months, all right, as well as what are some of the hit rate, some of the stop loss, as well as total performance for the particular month. Right, so we started tracking this strategy and this methodology since 10th of November. Right, so it's about 3 weeks into November. All right, total 3 weeks in November. These are the trades that we took. Not a lot, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 trades. Okay, so about 3 weeks, we took about 20 trades. That average about maybe 1.5 trades per week. 1.5 trades per day. Right, not a lot, and you can see there are quite a significant number of them are actually break-even trades. All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we have a total of 6 trades breaking even. Some trades exited with small losses and SL as well. Right, like 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 trades are out. Right, we got out 4 trades with losses. All right, and of course the rest are winning. All right, and you can see that with this methodology, right, with the wave theory, we are able to stack our trades when it's profitable. Right, we are able to stack, meaning on the same currency pair, if it's moving in our direction, we are able to enter more. Right, we are able to scale in that position to ride for that extra profits that you see over here. Okay, similar for Aussie Canadian. Right now, I'm holding on to one. Right, I'm still holding on to this Aussie Canadian trade. I'm still looking out this week. All right, if it gives me another reason to take that trade, I'll enter another one. all right, to write on to the overall trend itself. All right, basically we shorted somewhere around here, 1.001. All right, so this trade that we shorted last month, all right, this trade on 29 November, we have shift our stop loss to break even, and then right now this week I'm looking out for another reason to take a short trade on Aussie Canadian. Okay, so that's the few things that I want to share with you for this week. Not much. Okay, I wouldn't say not much, but basically the only few things that you need to take note for this particular week is all the central banks. Each day you have one. Okay, so you definitely have a lot of opportunity to look out for in the market. You have the Australian and Kiwi, you have the Canadian dollar as well as the euro. Okay, so you definitely have these 3 days to keep you active in trading itself. All right, so no more questions. Okay, if no question, let me, okay, if you need more time, to assess what we shared today, and then after that you have more questions, feel free to ask it in the Slack channel. All right, I'll answer your question there as well. Okay, perhaps you need more time to digest what we went through today. Ask it there, I'll answer your question. This video is, this whole webinar, this session is recorded. All right, so once it's uploaded onto YouTube and the website, right over here, other members area. All right, once it's uploaded there, in this post, right, 5th December, I'll update you guys as well. And if you need time to revisit this session, you can always do so. Okay, if you haven't watched the 28th and 21st webinar, I would strongly recommend you to at least watch the 21st one, right? Because this is the one that I shared very extensively how to use our report, right? How to use the FX Edge report over here, right? To your benefit. Okay, so if you haven't watched that session, the 21st November session, right, I would urge you to go back and revisit this session's webinar to understand better how to use the FX Edge report to your own benefit. All right, so if you do not have any question, I will end the webinar here. All right, and if you realize that you have any questions that you missed, just feel free to post it in the Slack group. All right, so with that, remind all again to always manage your risks. Do not take too high risk per trade. Risk management is the most important thing in trading to be sustainable and consistently being profitable in the market. Risk management is the most important aspect in trading. All right. So other than that, have a good week ahead. All right. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to ask me. Okay. Good night, all.